Hey there, my name is Adeola.kjv and with me today again, yes, and we're doing a series on performance management and how we affect the person and the organization. And so I thought to bring my cheerleader here who's going to be talking from the organizational side whilst I talk about the personal side, because I'm more concerned about the person while she's more concerned about the organization, and together we're concerned about everybody. So today what are we talking about?
Today we'll be talking about having effective communication and the impact that would have on performance.
Great. So you want to take the lead on this?
Okay, so following up on the last episode on this series, where we talked about having goals and all of that, and we think that where in an organizational setting, if there is no proper communication between the management and the employees as to what they're supposed to do, first and foremost, even as to their goals, it would really surprise you that there's some organizations who are set up and they have goals. The MD, the CEO, the owners of the companies probably do have goals, but these goals may not have been communicated to the employees.
And those goals, maybe some of the mission of the organization, the vision.
Yes, okay. Yes, and sometimes they just say these things in passing, but it's not ingrained in the minds and the spirit of the people who work with them.
Right.
And so their daily tasks are just more robotic. It's just a question of, okay, what comes to my desk, let me get it done and move on. As opposed to if there was some proper communication from the management to the employees as to their mission, their vision, what they have to do, and so the daily tasks of each person in that organization would mirror that mission, would mirror that vision, and would help them to achieve what they actually want to achieve.
I hear you. I mean, at the end of the day, like we mentioned the last episode on goals, we said everybody has to create a goal. A human being must have a goal, otherwise there's no movement. And then the organizations also must have goals that also align with the people and vice versa. In that situation, I mean, you can bring that to this then, where we're talking about communicating our goals to one another easily, right? So if I was coming to your organization to be employed, and you ask me what my goals are, the things that I want to work on, or the person that I want to be, I should be able to communicate it easily, and then the organization also should be able to do the same as well.
Yes.
Now, I know that at the end of the day, it's money that we're trying to make, right? But I think that organizations also need to have a little bit of humanity in them, right? There has to be some kind of humane side of them. Yes, bottom line is important, but if you don't have a well-rounded person, your bottom line, you're not going to get that bottom line anyways. Imagine what you would have gotten if you had somebody that you really cared about, and you poured yourself into them. And I mean, that definitely leads to the vision of the company. How many people know the vision of their companies? Or mission statements of their companies? What do you go there every day for? Is it something we chant every day? Is it something that we have written boldly in the premises of the organization when you walk through? Is it something that we practice? Do we have like a weekly sit down and conversation like you said, engrave these values or in our staff, or even tasks?
Yes.
Right? Is there a way where we sit down and ask questions? How did it go? What did you need that could have made it better? What could we have done in a different way to make? Because it's not about what works for the organization, it's also what works for the person. So you give me a task, for example, and I have to be away from home for 5 days. You don't care. You're like, just pack your bags and go. No prior notice.
Yeah.
Right? And then as a mother, I have to go back home and look after my kids. And you think, oh, just pack your bag, go and pack your bag now. You're going for the next 5 days. You don't know whether I've got any help at home. You don't know what's happening in my house. None of those things. And you don't care. You just say, pack your load or get fired. So how do we then merge this? And then, of course, it will be unfair for me also to just decide I'm not coming to work for 5 days just because, right? And so how do we then get to the point where we really do care about each other.
Yes.
You know, and so I mean, what else? What do you got to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, so it really goes back to being able to talk about these things, and a lot of times in organizations, sometimes there's the atmosphere for that,
it's not given.
Communication is not given. So though the management may be able to speak freely and tell the employees do this or don't do that, but there's no opportunity for the employees to go back to the management to say, okay, this was the task that you gave to me. I don't really understand it. It's not my strength, and I understand that sometimes organizations want to stretch their employees, and that's fine because we only want to get better. But
it's sometimes it's setting them up to fail.
Well, because they don't have the skills to do it,
or the capacity,
to do it. So when you see that this is a round peg and you're trying to fit them into a square hole, there's gonna be a backlash from that. There's gonna be bruises. There's gonna be unachieved tasks, unachieved. So at the end of the day, you want to be able to sit down with the people and have that openness. There should be that openness within an organization for free flow of communication. I mean, tasks would always come, things would always need to be done, but if there's proper communication between the management and the employees, and even between employees, between colleagues in the office, because sometimes there might be cross-department activities, but sometimes one department may just feel they could send work to another department without asking, okay, is there anybody that can get this done, or giving some, just talk about it, and I think, not being able to talk about it makes, because people are different, so you will have people who would react differently in situations where they are not told that this is what you are supposed to do. They just come and they drop the work on your table and they just ask you to figure it out. And there are people who can do that. There are people who can figure it out, but there are people who cannot figure it out. So when you know that this person, when you know who your employees are, I think it also makes it easier to be able to communicate with them. But no matter the strengths or the weaknesses of our employees, I just always think that it is important to have that openness and that open channel for both parties to be able to communicate.
And I think that also, I know that we, especially in a place where culture is so big in Nigeria, where you can't sit down and say things that are wrong, or things that you think didn't go the right way. I think organizations need to start having like something called an open day, where employees can come together and share their real thoughts or feelings towards certain things that are going on. And then of course there's no repercussion to what they say, there's no judgment to what they say. Otherwise you have lost them, they're not going to say anything to you the next time. So maybe it should be a situation whereby the employers sit down and listen to the employees, because you never know what kind of gems can come out of it. There's nobody has the monopoly of ideas, so a fantastic idea come from a janitor, right? And vice versa. So I think if we have an opportunity where we have maybe like an open day once in 2 weeks, or once in 2 weeks is good enough, because right now we're talking about how to make the organization work. So the more often the better for us to come together and share our hearts. Even in your family, you should do the same thing as well. If you're married with kids, even if you're not married with kids, with your parents, you can say, look, Daddy, I think we need to have an open day. There's certain things that are not going on well, but I'm afraid to say. But if we have an open day and call it like our safe haven, for example, where I can really say that you did this thing to me and it wasn't fair, and he also feels the need at that point to explain or apologize. Same thing can be extended to an organization where you can apologize or explain, or maybe just say, I'm sorry, I did it anyways, and then let that person know that it is what it is. But it will make people feel appreciated. It will make people feel like they're a part of something really big. It will make them feel wanted. It will make them feel seen, and then they're able to give more. that's one thing I think that organizations need to do, and you can call me, I'll help you structure it properly, but I think it's something that needs to be added to our organizations where everybody's now able to speak, and it brings that humanity back into the organization, and people can really relate on a deeper level,
That's really true. It's necessary because I mean, at the end of the day, we are all human beings and we are all relational.
Yeah.
So when these things are put in place properly, it helps everybody move forward.
Yeah.
Both within the organization and out of it.
So effective communication really would enhance performance management.
Yes.
Because now everybody is able to speak on a deeper level and tell each other, the truth. Mm-hmm. Well, all truth is subjective, but at least I'll be able to tell you my subjective truth, and you'll be able to say yours, and then we can find a way to align. Thank you, Yomi. Thank you. I've had a good time today, and I hope you have too. And if you are an HR practitioner and you're listening to me, or you know any, I think you can make that suggestion to them so that people feel more seen and appreciated in the organizations where they work, and they can eventually do better. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care.